Hi, I'm Jim W6LG, your ham radio Elmer here on YouTube. Welcome to my radio room in Rocklin, California. I've seen some videos, and I don't normally watch other ham radio YouTube videos. In fact, I make it a rule not to. But I watched a couple, and they were about what is the best HF transceiver for the beginner. And I very much disagree with the conclusions they came up with. And so I'd like to present what I think are some of the best choices for an HF transceiver. And let's keep a couple of things in mind. Number one, that's just the beginning of the money that you're going to spend. It goes up from there quite a bit. So although the transceiver, if purchased new, is a big ticket purchase, there are a lot of other things that have to be added in. For example, a power supply and coax, and make your own antenna. Don't buy one. Same thing with the microphone. Use the mic that came with it. In the case of ICOM, the little mic that comes with it, which is available on Amazon under another label, Retevis, R-E-T-E-V-I-S, I think for less than $20. This is a great little mic. It's electret, should work fine. So there are other expenses that are going to come up. An SWR meter, coax, all of those kinds of things add to the cost of getting an HF station on the air. And let me give you some of the parameters that I think should apply to the first HF transceiver that a new ham might purchase. And number one, I think it needs to be 100 watts, and here's why. If you bought a transceiver that was 10 watts, because you said, well, I want to do POTA. I got to go to the park and do POTA. Well, then fine, buy a POTA transceiver. But the transceiver that you're going to use at home, I would like it to be 100 watts. Why 100 watts? Well, it's 10 times the power level, obviously. And that's about 10 dB, which is almost 2 full S units stronger. What I don't want the new ham to do is to sit there calling people and never getting an answer, or calling CQ and never getting an answer. I would like it so that the new ham is on the air making contacts, not necessarily POTA contacts, just contacts. Sit there and talk to people. Get away from the jargon of whiskeys and QSL and the rest of it. Just sit and talk to someone. And that limits a lot of transceivers like the Zygu and some others, which I think would be a really poor choice for a new ham radio operator new to HF. You may have been on the air a long time, but you may finally have decided to go with HF. So there are a handful of transceivers out there that fit the bill. So let's take a look at them after we look at some used offerings. Now, here's the problem with used. I don't want the new guy to buy an HF transceiver and then find out it doesn't work well. So buying on eBay is an absolute negative. Don't do it. If there's a local ham radio club, church group, or something that has some HF transceivers, you may want to get your feet wet with one of those, but or a neighbor that's got one, but you want to be able to try it out and make sure it works. There are a lot of features that don't exist in an older transceiver, like the waterfall, and that's in today's situation. It's a really nice thing to have a display up where you can look at it and see a band scope and what's going on up and down the band. So let's go look at some used transceivers from Ham Radio Outlet and see what they have to offer. And then we'll go through Ham Radio Outlet and DX Engineering and see what's available as a new transceiver, as a beginning transceiver, one that's not too complicated. So let's go look at HRO first and see what they have. I honestly don't know. I haven't looked yet. All right, here we go. Here is one. Yaesu 450, fairly difficult transceiver to manipulate. and it's still $650. The 480 is 900. $990. Well, they get real expensive real quick, don't they? All right, so we're going to rule that out. It's just too expensive. Let's see what they have in terms of new equipment. So I'm going to go back up, products, new products. The A91 is a good transceiver. However, I would like you to have, if you're the new ham, I would like you to have a larger box, something that sits on the table that you can manipulate. The ICOM 718 is way too old, as is the Kenwood 480 and the ICOM 7100. So we're narrowing down. 991. I want to go for just an HF transceiver, not necessarily the quote shack in the box. So here are a couple. So this is a very good price. This is an excellent transceiver. It's 100 watts, 710 field, less than $900. About $950 for the one with the speaker attached. Whether or not that's desirable, I don't know. But that's an excellent transceiver, an excellent buy. It's small. Obviously, they're well in stock with this one. I've talked to guys that have this. I've talked to a couple of guys that have this, and the 7300, and they believe the performance on this transceiver is better than the other. So this is 9 by 3, so it's 3 inches tall and about 10 pounds. But you get a full-blown transceiver, and you can add some things to it like that display screen. So that would be an excellent choice. That gets you a 100-watt transceiver with a super receiver in it that's going to work right out of the box. You're not going to have big issues with getting it working. Okay, what's next on their list? The AES, which is the same thing with the speaker. 991 we're going to pass on because I want to get just an HF transceiver. 7300 is getting to be long in the tooth. It's $1,100, so I would probably pass on that. A spectacular transceiver for the money is the Yaesu FTDX10. And we're at $1,375, so $1,400. It's a newer design. It does a lot of things. It does it well. Let's see what the size is. It really is a beautiful transceiver. The layout of the knobs is not perfect. Whoever laid them out does not use the equipment. And let's see if it has... It's not much different in height from the 710, so this may also be a good choice. Both those can be remoted. It has a built-in antenna tuner. I know it to be an excellent transceiver, one of the best ever. So its performance is really second to none. It's for the money, you can't beat it. It's $1,400. The 590 is way too old. That's maybe 15 years old. And now we're into big dollars, 3,200, 3,300. So that really limits the choice to a handful. And as you can see, the Yaesu FTDX 101D and MP are at the top of the list, mostly because of the narrow spacing, third order intercept. The next one down is the Flex Radio. And let's before I go down there, the sensitivity with the first preamp on is 0.12 microvolts, so a tenth of a microvolt. and noise floor 141 dB down. Flex is too expensive, and it's about the same performance. The FTDX 10 again is about the same as the 101. Noise floor minus 140, so that's the same number. Sensitivity 0.15, 0.12, again, really, really close. Third order intercept 107 dB. So they're about the same. The 710, look at this. One of the least expensive HF transceivers. Noise floor 140 dB down. Sensitivity 0.15. So again, 0.13, 0.15, 0.12. Third order intercept 107 dB. That's amazingly good. It's better than the K3. Okay, the K3 is it was several $1,000s. Sensitivity on the K3 is better. It's one of the best. It's less than this one's a 0.13. This one's 0.08 and 106 dB. So that's good. The K3S 7851. Let's scroll down the page a little more. KX3 also very good. The Anon, excellent. The K4D sensitivity is not quite the same, and the third order intercept wasn't quite as good. Whether or not you'd notice the difference, I don't know. I don't think so. So going down this list, the ICOM 7610 sensitivity is good with the preamp on, but the third order intercept is not nearly as good. It's 90 dB versus 110. So it's 20 dB difference, which is bunches. 7300, also not quite as good on the third order intercept. Was there another version of that? No. So that really limits the choice to a handful. For a lot of us, money is tight, and it's apt to be tighter. So if you buy the 710 without the speaker, and you can hook up your own speaker if you want, it's $875 and free shipping. And it will just flat work, and it comes with a microphone, so you got that. That's a really good price. The FTDX 10, if you can afford a little more money, you get a slightly better receiver and some better functionality. Why the bigger box? Easier to tune, easier to manipulate the knobs. It's something you can put on a desk and hook up stuff to, and it's just flat going to work. So think about those transceivers for the first transceiver. Again, what I'm looking for is something that handles 100 watts. I want you to get on the air and make contacts, and I mean engage people in conversation. To say you're 5'9" Charlie Alpha QSL is, for my money, not learning about amateur radio. It is just simply like a contest. So, what do you think? You disagree? You have a comment? You do have a 5-watt transceiver and you're working the world with it. It's a game changer. Well, then say so and tell us what you're doing with it. But keep in mind, you would be 2 S units stronger with a full 100-watt transceiver. Or if it's 20 watts and you go to 100, you're going to be more than an S unit stronger. And that is night and day. The difference between an S unit, S5 and S4 sometimes is I can hear the guy, I can't hear the guy. So having 100 watts is really a good place to be. Trust me, I've been at it 60 years. If I say 100 watts is better, I sincerely mean it. So if you have a difference of opinion, post that below. I'd love to hear from you. If you disagree, as I said, you have a difference of opinion, Put it down there. Tell us why. New guys are going to read the comments, trying to figure out what to do. So those are my views of the best HF transceiver for a beginner. Yeah, it's a lot of money. And for some folks, it's not possible. So again, there's just a handful, and hardly even that, of transceivers that I would say are the best at this time. Is there something else that's going to come along that's cheaper? ICOM has something coming out, but it doesn't look like it's going to be cheaper. So what you see today is probably the best that you can get. There's no point in holding off unless there's something that goes on for some kind of a sale. The current prices to me look pretty good. So what do you think? You disagree? You have a comment? You do have a 5-watt transceiver and you're working the world with it. It's a game changer. Well, then say so and tell us what you're doing with it. But keep in mind, you would be 2 S units stronger with a full 100-watt transceiver. Or if it's 20 watts and you go to 100, you're going to be more than an S unit stronger. And that is night and day. The difference between an S unit, S5 and S4 sometimes is I can hear the guy, I can't hear the guy. So having 100 watts is really a good place to be. Trust me, I've been at it 60 years. If I say 100 watts is better, I sincerely mean it. So if you have a difference of opinion, post that below. I'd love to hear from you. If you disagree, as I said, you have a difference of opinion, put it down there. Tell us why. I'm Jim, W6LG in Rockland, California. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe and post a comment below. Give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.